Nick Saban called the Hurricanes the most complete team in America, and now Miami moves up yet again in the AP poll.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All us Miami fans, we've just been stuffing our faces with gator meat for the last 24 hours. I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and host of Postgame on the Hurricanes Radio Network. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen or your second listen today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. With our special guest tonight, we're going to talk about whether or not Miami really is the most complete team in America. More thoughts after that 26-7 win against Florida. I know Gator fans, hug a Gator fan if you're around one this week, because I think they need our support after that awful 1-3 start, and they're all trying to raise money to pay Billy Napier's buyout. It's an awful thing up there in Gainesville, but down here in South Florida, Miami's 4-0. Hurricanes are off this week before taking on the Florida State Seminoles in Tallahassee in 13 days. All right, enough about that. Let's bring on our special guest. It's been way too long. A show favorite has returned. We have Melissa, a.k.a. Hoodie Girl, with us in the Hoodie Girl hoodie. And Melissa, I know you were partying. I'm sure you were with Ruben Bain eating gator meat after that victory last night. What were some of your takeaways in the stands there at Hard Rock Stadium?
My takeaways in the stands is that Miami fans do actually show up. All of these lies being told on Twitter that the stadium was half Florida fans. Not true. Florida fans did show up. I'm actually thoroughly impressed by the turnout that Florida did have, considering the kind of the woes that they're in right now with the coaching staff. But no, the stadium was popping last night. It was definitely a good time.
Yeah, and it was line of scrimmage domination on both sides. And as a result of that, and with Miami's 4-0 start, and I know it wasn't a great night for Miami's passing attack, but they made up for it in every other area. Rushed for 184 yards against a Florida defense that averaged about, I think, 84, 87 rushing yards allowed per game before yesterday. And you see this, Melissa, Miami moves up from number 4 to number 2 on the Associated Press poll, only behind the number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes. And I'm not even going to sit here and say like Miami should be number 1 or anything like that, because to me, Ohio State, defending champs, they are undefeated. They deserve to be in that number 1 spot, but I also think Miami deserves to be in that top 2, because when it comes to Miami's physicality, when it comes to the improvement of Miami's defense, who has smothered all 4 of their opponents so far, I believe, as Coach Nick Saban said, the Hurricanes are the most complete team in the country right now. And I don't want to get too big of a head over this right now. There's 8 games left in the regular season to play, but I think Miami at number 2 is exactly where they belong.
I'm shocked, honestly. I didn't see us moving up unless one of the teams that were ahead of us lost. It's just because we're in the ACC, we're not an SEC or a Big Ten school. I saw the coaches poll and saw we were in the same place, so I assumed we were going to stay where we were. So I'm actually shocked. Do we deserve it? I think we've had one of the tougher non-conference schedules. People can say what they want about USF not being ranked anymore. They had 2 big games that they won as a group of 5 team. We knocked off Notre Dame to begin the season. And obviously the AP shows what they think of Notre Dame, even with 2 losses, because they still have them ranked. Say what you want about Florida. Rivalry games hit different. Florida has an elite defense. You saw that last night. And I agree with Nick Saban. I think we do have one of the most complete teams in the country. And people will argue that, saying that Beck had an off game last night and our passing game was terrible. But that's what makes it a complete team, because even though Beck had an off night, we still won the game. Our defense was elite. And our running game showed out. And so did special teams. I mean, you look at what Carter Davis has done for us this season after this. I mean, we all came into this season worried like crazy about what our kicking game was going to be like after 5 years with the Borregales brothers. And Carter Davis hasn't missed a step. I mean, he nailed a 53-yarder in the rain last night. So at all 3 phases of the game, I thought we succeeded and played well in certain aspects in each part. Obviously, there's always stuff to improve on, but number two, hey, listen, they're showing the Miami Hurricanes some respect, and now we just got to keep proving it every week.
Yeah, and I think based on the resume, I don't usually have very nice things to say about the AP voters. And, a couple weeks ago, we had that one who sort of outed herself when she had that bizarre explanation for why she, at the time, had Florida moving up and USF unranked right after USF upset Florida. So not all of the AP voters do their homework, but most of them do. And I think Miami moving up past Penn State. Penn State's played 3 junior colleges so far. Like, they haven't played anybody, the Nittany Lions. So the resume is not there compared to Miami's. I think Miami moves in front of LSU, at least partially because the Hurricanes looked better against the common opponent in Florida. Miami performed, I guess you could say LSU picked off DJ Lagway 5 times, but Miami actually performed better against Florida than LSU did.
Lagway didn't throw as much as he did against LSU.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think Napier was like, all right, we're gonna protect you a little bit, bud. But yeah, I think Miami deserved to move in front of LSU and for in front of Penn State for those reasons. Now, listen, Miami's got their bye week coming up, and Penn State plays Oregon this weekend, which is a huge game. If the Nittany Lions, and Melissa, if the Nittany Lions beat Oregon while Miami's off, I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State moves back in front of Miami. But at this moment, Miami deserves to be where they are.
Completely agree. Also, that whole AP voting fiasco, I woke up for work that afternoon and someone had tagged me in that. And so I was like half asleep, like looking at it, and I was like really confused as to why I was tagged in it. And they were just like, "Oh, you should do the AP voting instead of her." And I was like, "That's funny."
Well, you know what? Honestly, I had that thought earlier today, and I take like my own. I'm not an AP voter, just so you guys know. If I was, I would take it really seriously because I try to break this stuff down as professionally as I can. And I was watching this afternoon my guy Jason on Rock Boys Football, and he was breaking down the AP poll, and I'm thinking like he should have a vote. Like compared to some of these people that don't take it seriously at all, the way he was breaking it down, he should have a vote. Let me run down the top 25, for the audio listeners who aren't looking at this beautiful chart, which, by the way, the chart is courtesy of On3. I pulled that one up for you guys, but it's Ohio State number 1, then Miami at number 2, Penn State, LSU, Georgia, rounding out the top 5, Oregon 6th, Oklahoma 7th. They move up. They move in front of Florida State because Oklahoma just got a big victory against Auburn. Florida State fell 1 spot. I see some of Hoodie Girl. Let's pause on this one for a second because I see some Florida State fans like, we just set a team rushing record against Kent State and they drop us a spot. Now, listen, Florida State, I give them credit because they punched Alabama in the mouth week 1. They deserve, I think, to be in the top 10 because they have looked impressive so far. But don't complain about dropping a spot when you've played East Texas A&M and Kent State in consecutive weeks. Not to mention, well, actually not in consecutive weeks because they had a bye week in there. Florida State, during their bye week, moved up 3 spots. So don't bitch and moan about dropping a spot now.
I agree. Listen, it's early in the season. Honestly, rankings at this point in September mean absolutely nothing. It's just ways to get TV viewership. Be like, oh, it's a ranked matchup. With the way the playoff system works now, rankings don't mean a thing until they come up with the college football playoff rankings. So yeah, this is great. It's a way for the NCAA to make more money because, oh, look, you're going to Happy Valley, top 10 matchup, 3 versus 6. That's basically what it is. We play Florida State in 2 weeks. It's going to be a top 10 matchup, depending on what happens, because Georgia's playing Alabama, Penn State's playing Oregon next week. A lot of things could happen. It could easily be a top 5 matchup. So the rankings will take care of themselves. We just need to go 1-0 every week, and that's what Florida State should be worrying about. Instead of complaining about their rankings, they should be focused on Virginia next weekend. Yeah,
and I think Florida State should beat Virginia probably comfortably, but that's going to be a much better barometer than Kent State and East Texas A&M for the last couple of weeks. So Texas A&M 9th, Texas 10th. They bounce back against Sam Houston State. Indiana number 11. Indiana they curb stomped Illinois this past weekend. That was a big win for them. Texas Tech, number 12. They beat Utah. That was a big win. Ole Miss, 13th. Iowa State, 14th. Tennessee, 15. Georgia Tech, 16. Alabama, 17. Vanderbilt, 18. They've been the Cinderella of the SEC. Michigan, 19. Mizzou, 20. USC, 21. Notre Dame, 22. Illinois falls to 23. TCU, 24. And BYU, number 25. So that's your new AP top 25. When we come back, I want to get Melissa's take on some of what she saw against Florida last night, and if there are any lingering concerns about Miami's passing game, which was off. You know, it wasn't terrible. In fact, Carson Beck went 3 for 3 on the important drive when Miami took the 19-7 lead, which really, you know, was what put the game away. So he stepped up in moments, but overall out of sync. So we'll talk about it. You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Guys, it's a big NFL Sunday happening right now. College football has been awesome. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, I love them. Building a same-game parlay, yes, please. Or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We're also brought to you by Square. Folks, your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home. Whether it's the local sports bar packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades, these are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. I love when the food trucks come together in my neighborhood, and guys, they all run on Square. Spending money there doesn't just support the business, it supports the people behind it and the community around it. Those local spots are what makes the neighborhood feel like home, and so many of them run on Square. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen. Proudly joined by Melissa. You know her better as Hoodie Girl, co-host of the awesome Buckets Miami basketball podcast. Of course, she's a Miami football enthusiast as well. Part of the 6 Ring team on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. All right, so Melissa, I yapped enough this morning about my big takeaways on Miami against Florida. What are some of the things that stood out to you in that victory on Saturday night?
The trenches. I mean, anyone that follows football enough to understand the basic goings on of a football game will know just how much we dominated both sides of the ball when it comes to the trenches. I mean, can you imagine being a quarterback and having Bain and Mesidor coming at your face? Like, and then when the Heatherman puts them on the same side, and then you got Lightfoot coming off the other side. The D line has impressed me so much this year, but so much of the defense has impressed me this year. It's nice to not like have to hold your breath and like pray every time an opposing QB throws the ball downfield because you're worried about what our secondary is or isn't going to do. Our corners, I think have been playing great. Jacoby Thomas, when he got that sack and hit the Ray Lewis celebration after. Man, that and like the timing, it just like I think Bain and Mezzi had a sack in that fourth quarter when we were getting to get the ball back so we could get that touchdown to go up 2 scores. It's just we seem to just hit big plays at the right time. I never feel like when I'm watching our defense where I'm not like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like there's none of those like holy crap moments like we had last year. It's so nice to see on offense. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if the rain had something to do with it. It rained a lot through a lot of the game. It wasn't like the Notre Dame game where it rained at the beginning and then it kind of stopped and things kind of dried out a little bit. I don't know if the wet ball had anything to do with Carson Beck's struggles. He was throwing a little off. A few of his passes into the flat were either down or like Marty made a really good one-handed catch. But again, the running game picked us up. I think we score even more if we don't have those pre-snap infractions. A few of those false starts kind of cost us where it was like 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6. And you could tell we were probably going to run the ball again. And then pre-snap infraction and all of a sudden it's 2nd and long. And now you kind of have to throw. So it kind of took us out of our game a little bit. But I mean, the defense, they say offense wins games, defense wins championships. Our defense is showing exactly why Miami's number 2 right now.
Yeah, and defenses tend to travel well. Miami's got their first road game of the season coming up in 2 weeks, and it's going to be a big one. I mean, it's definitely going to be a top 10 matchup, possibly even a top 5 matchup, depending on how things shake out. Running games tend to travel as well. We'll talk a little bit more about Carson Beck here. First thing, despite the fact that, like you mentioned, some of his throws were off, the timing seemed to be off. I appreciate the way that he and the offense responded, because of course the lowest moment for him and for them was when after he threw that interception to Cormani McClain. Thankfully, Miami's defense, I know I made the same face, but I'm like, it had to be him. It had to be him to pick off.
It was actually a great play by him because he made up some ground in his long arms. It was actually, I hated that it was him, but he actually made a really good play. I'll give him that.
He did, but I appreciate that. So that was the lowest moment for the offense. Now, first of all, talk about complimentary football. The defense was able to step up and keep Florida from scoring, despite the fact that Florida got the ball around midfield after that interception. So it's a complimentary football we were missing last year. That's part one. Part two is the offense gets the football again. And what does Miami's offense do? They respond in the most physical manner possible. Mario Cristobal talked about it after the game. He was, Inez Cooper was John, John makes it sound like they were arguing. I don't want to characterize that wrong, but he and Inez Cooper were talking before that offensive drive, and Coop and the offensive line, they wanted to eat. And Cristobal told them, I'm going to let you guys eat. So they really, they put that next drive really in the hands of their physicality and their running game. And what does Miami do? They respond after, the offense, the next time they get the football after the interception. They go 80 yards in 13 plays, a drive that it took a lot of time, like 7.5 minutes or so off the clock on that drive. And it was mostly on the ground, but Beck completed 3 passes in 3 attempts on that drive. So I appreciate the way he responded. I appreciate the way the offense responded. And again, that to me is the sign of a complete football team. When one area is a little off or a lot off, and you're able to pick it up in multiple other aspects of your game. Because, Miami let Florida hang in that football game way too long. But in the fourth quarter, when they needed it most, they shut the Gators down.
Beck was poised. I like I said, I don't hate that interception throw. CJ Daniels was open. I would have liked if CJ made maybe a little bit, like he was kind of waiting for the ball to come to him. Maybe if he, obviously I'm not a football player. I don't know the conditions he was in, if it was wet. So I'm not trying to hate on CJ Daniels because, he's a heck of a receiver. He's made some insane catches. So I don't hate him on that throw. He did have some open field ahead of him, so I thought maybe he could have run. Again, I'm not mad because it was a really wet field, and I'd rather him not get injured. But no, he stayed poised. And like my co-host on Buckets, Vish, he's always about running the ball, and so we get the ball back after that interception, and he's just going like this with his fist. He's like, just pound it, just pound it. And so he's like, I don't want to see him throw a pass. I want us to run the ball every time. And the 3 throws Carson made on that drive were great. I loved getting Elijah Lofton into the game. He's such an athlete. Dude's like a gazelle running at you. It's hard to believe he's like 200 plus pounds with the way he can move. And my new favorite player, Marty Brown, freaking love him. I don't know if it was meant to be a screen pass or whatever, but he coming out of the backfield and he made a one-handed catch because the ball was kind of thrown behind him and picked up a big first down for us. Brown and Fletcher, man, just MVPs of the offense, I have to say. And along with the offensive line, just pushing them 5 to 6 yards every single time. Like you think they're down after a 3 to 4 yard gain, all of a sudden like Inez Cooper or Francis Mauinoa is behind them, pushing them for another 5 yards. Just smash mouth football. And I saw this thing on Twitter. A guy that covers football was just absolutely amazed. He's like, "How big is Markel Bell?" Like this
Oh
dude
my
is just,
gosh.
he's just like a behemoth, 6'9", 340 pounds, and he's like, "Who is this guy?" Like, and then like Samson, Matt McCoy. I mean, I know Brockemeyer had some snap infractions, but like the whole offensive line, like we're spoiled. We're absolutely
Yeah.
spoiled.
Yeah, we really are. And I know, like, I asked the question, or I guess it wasn't really a question, but I said before the Florida game that, 3 games in, Miami hadn't shown any weaknesses. Yeah, I guess you could say in this particular game, the passing game, was kind of a weakness that every other part of the game made up for it. So are you concerned about any of this heading into Florida State, or do you think it was just an off day for Beck and Miami's going to have enough time to correct this stuff?
I don't think the passing game is a weakness. I just think in different games and different situations, different parts of your team are going to thrive, and that's what makes you a complete football team. Is that you can have one part that's maybe not being as successful, and you make up for it in other ways. So we've seen Beck throw. He had over 300 yards in multiple other games. I trust him. I think the sack that he took was a coverage sack. There was no one open downfield. Florida secondary did very good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm up in the nosebleed, so I can like see like the whole game, and they were covering our receivers really, really well. So I don't know that we're gonna see a type of secondary like that in our next coming games. I haven't seen enough of FSU yet. Like obviously, I know they played really well against Bama, but their last 2 games have been cupcakes. So I'm interested to see how they do against Virginia. I expect them to win, but I think for both us and for FSU. I think we're going to be each other's biggest test so far. I do think Miami's a bit more battle tested just because of I think our non-conference schedule has been harder. But I'm not looking down on FSU. I didn't expect them to play as well as they did against Bama, and they've taken care of business against their cupcake team. So I'll be in Tally watching that game live in Doak for the first time.
Ooh.
So the away game curse was broken last year. So
All
I'm
right.
now
I
starting.
needed to know that before I can allow you to go to that game.
I was at the Cal game last year. So I
Okay.
did have an existential crisis midway through the 3rd quarter of that game, saying I'm never going to an away game ever again. But we came back and won, so I'm now on a winning streak. So I will be in Tally. So hopefully we pick up a win, or it might be a little bit uncomfortable walking out of that stadium.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be crazy. There's gonna be a good amount of Miami fans there. I'm not gonna be one of these Florida fans who claims we're gonna have half the stadium. It's gonna be a good, several hundred, maybe a couple thousand, probably a couple thousand Miami fans there. But
FSU fans wouldn't allow that to happen.
yeah,
They have too much. Nah, they're too big of a fans. They're not going to let Miami fans take over Doak. That I wouldn't expect out of Miami fans, Florida fans, or FSU fans to allow
yeah.
rival teams to do that.
Well, let us know, Hoodie Girl, best places to watch your shows. You mentioned co-host of the Buckets Pod. By the way, shout out to our friend Vish. I'm sure he's going to be tuning in. I got to get Vish back on the show as well, especially like for more baseball and basketball stuff. But Hoodie Girl is our basketball correspondent, and
Yeah, we
once
need to do a
basketball
little
season,
basketball preview show.
I know we will. We're going to for sure. But let people know where they can find you.
So you can follow me on Twitter, the Cooler Mel B. It's right there at the bottom. You can find Buckets on the 5 Reasons Sports Network on YouTube. Just look for Buckets. We also do a football show and a baseball show. And if you want the audio version, just look up 5 Reasons Canes. You can catch all 3 Canes pods there. And then I'm on Instagram too, same handle, the Cooler Mel B.
Now, why the heck is my face getting cut off there on your wall of fame?
Because you don't have a wide enough screen on
Yeah,
Buckets.
I know.
It goes all the way out. So,
Hold on, let me let you go full screen.
See, you got everybody there. Now you can see full right there. You're right next to Blue. That's actually really good. You're in really good company right there, Donno.
Yeah,
You're right
blue
next
is
to Larry Bluestein.
yeah.
You have good area.
That is prime real estate. Melissa, aka Hoodie Girl, thank you so much. Everyone, make sure you follow her. Follow me at Alex Donno. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Canes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your pods. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome. Oh, yes. And we're gonna get Chalupa Batman back on with us soon. So it's been he kind of disappeared for a while, but he's back on the scene recently. So we got the Chalupa Batman signal is going out
It's
there.
right
I'll
there
be
on
the
the board.
yeah. We miss CB. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Maybe Chalupa Batman will be back with us on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.